In this world, after everyone turns 18, they have the right to enter the Nexus to select a wife. Some sign contracts with vampires, awakening as immortal vampire lords. Some bond with elves, awakening sharpshooter talents. And there are even those who pair with dryads, unexpectedly awakening as summoning-type druids. As for me, in order to find my ideal partner within the Chamber of Bonds, I painstakingly studied psychology for 3 years. This is because the opposite sex inside the rooms hails from any race across the multiverse. Once a door is opened, the contract takes effect immediately, with no takebacks. If you get lucky and match with a rare elf, who is both powerful and beautiful, it's a guaranteed winner takes all life. If you're unlucky and match with an abyssal Murloc, you won't just be eroded by toxins, you might even become a plaything for a monster. My name is Luke, and it has been 3 years since I transmigrated to this world where everyone forms contracts. Danger lurks everywhere here, with dungeons and monsters running rampant. Only by selecting an alien partner through the Nexus and awakening a class can one master the power to survive. The stronger the partner's race, the stronger the class. On the podium, the voluptuous and hot Ms. Scarlett was reading out the list. She herself is a classic example of a failed match. Although she has a body as hot as a model's, she remains single because she accidentally matched with a female rabbitkin.
Next one, Luke.
Hearing my name, I took a deep breath and walked toward that massive metal door, under the envious or mocking gazes of over 300 graduates. My best friend Zach was shaking so hard his legs trembled when he went in earlier, and although I looked calm on the surface, my palms were sweaty. For these 3 years, I studied psychology like a madman, just to be able to guess the race behind the door through the faint clues leaking from the cracks. But this is ultimately a game of Russian roulette played with one's life. With good luck, you marry an elf wife and skyrocket to success. With bad luck, like that unlucky Yamamoto, you marry a radioactive 3-headed fish and rot to death on the spot. Stepping through the door, space instantly folded, and an endless corridor appeared before my eyes, lined with doors of various colors on both sides. Since I'm here, there's no turning back. I walked up to a pink door, on which floated a line of holographic text. This young lady is 18, lively and cute. Come on over, with a cartoon rabbit head drawn next to it. According to psychological analysis, this was highly likely a rabbitkin, a relatively safe choice. Just as I was about to push the door open, a crisp notification sound suddenly rang out in my mind.
System activated. Detecting host entry. Analytics protocol started.
System! I froze for a moment, then was overcome with ecstasy. It's been 3 years. My cheat code might be late, but it's finally here. System information instantly flooded my mind. A support-type system capable of seeing through disguises and analyzing weaknesses.
System, analyze this door.
I chanted silently in my heart, suppressing my excitement.
Analysis complete. Inside, rabbitkin. Appearance score, 1/3/10. Evaluation, a 300-pound rabbitkin with freckles and botched lip fillers.
I pulled my hand back, as if electrocuted, cold sweat streaming down. What the hell is lively and cute? If I didn't have the system, my life would have been ruined. Calming my heartbeat, I quickly skipped this trap door and continued forward.
Green door. Analysis. Dryad. Score 8.6/10, but flat as a runway and in infancy stage. Requires 300 years to mature.
Pass. I can't wait that long.
Blue door. Analysis. Zombie girl. Score 9/10. Compatibility excellent. Drawback. Neck stitching is loose. Head may fall off during intense exercise.
Pass. I don't want to be holding a head on my wedding night. I walked and analyzed along the way until I stopped in front of a large red door emitting rolling waves of heat. There was only a grumpy line of text on the door. Don't bother me. Get lost.
Analyze.
Analysis complete. Inside, Fire Dragon Princess. Ember. Race, Ancient Dragon. Mythical rank. Appearance score, 9/7/10. Combat power, Mythical. Evaluation, perfect body, tsundere personality. Although short-tempered, she is innocent by nature, a 10,000-year-old shut-in dragon. Bonding with a giant dragon grants 20% damage reduction.
Mythical rank, and a dragon to boot. In this world, giant dragons are at the top of the food chain, and the awakened class is definitely tier 0 level. Plus, a 20% reduction in all damage. This is simply a god-tier skill. She's the one. I didn't hesitate and pushed the door open. When I walked out of the Chamber of Bonds again, the entire playground instantly fell silent. Immediately after, a terrifying heat wave exploded outwards with me at the center, and the temperature on the playground plummeted upwards by 10 degrees.
What the hell? It's burning! look behind Luke.
Everyone's gaze looked past me, staring fixatedly at the girl behind me. She was dressed in a red dress, her skin as white as snow. On her head were a pair of crystal-clear dragon horns, and behind her were folded a pair of dragon wings burning with flowing fire. She looked thoroughly displeased, yet constrained by the contract. She had no choice but to obediently follow behind me.
Oh my god, dragon horns? It's a dragon! This pressure! It's not a drake, it's a pure-blood dragon. Mythical rank! Luke matched with a mythical wife?
Dean Lee and a group of teachers sprang up from their chairs, their faces full of disbelief. My best friend Zach had just brought out his elite-tier zombie girl to show off, but seeing my Ember now, his jaw nearly hit the floor.
Human, I am the noble Fire Dragon Princess. You better stay away from me.
Even when angry, Ember's voice was crisp and melodious. I smiled, ignoring her tsundere attitude, because the class awakening panel had already popped up on my retina.
Detected Mythical Dragon Partner. Unlocking Mythical Class Options. Please select 1. Draconic Mage, Nuke Cannon. 2. Dragon Slayer Anti-Dragon. 3. Dragon Priest, Super Healer. 4. Dragon Rider, Strongest Knight.
The system quickly provided the optimal solution. The mage is too squishy and easily assassinated. The Dragon Slayer clashes with my wife. The priest is a support role. Only the Dragon Rider.
Dragon Rider, humanity's strongest cavalry class. Possesses stats far exceeding other knights. Trait, in mounted mode, shares 80% of the mount's total attributes.
Sharing 80% of a mythical giant dragon stats. I could dominate everything without even trying.
I choose Dragon Rider.
A golden light poured into my body, and terrifying power exploded throughout my limbs and bones.
Luke, is it really Dragon Rider?
Miss Scarlett's voice trembled with excitement.
That's the legendary ceiling for Knight class solo combat capabilities.
Dean Lee rushed over and grasped my hand.
Good. Golden Bay Academy finally produced a superstar.
The looks from the surrounding students had turned from envy to jealousy and awe. Joe, who had awakened as a boar tamer earlier, looked like he was about to call me daddy right then and there.
Luke, do you want me to help you level up? I'm a level 40 pro, you know?
Miss Scarlett leaned in, her breath fragrant.
Thanks, Miss Scarlett, but I want to try it myself.
I shook my head. You must be joking. I have a mythical wife and a system. Teaming up would only dilute my XP. Pulling the still sulking Ember, I headed straight for the wild zone.
Let's go. I'll take you somewhere fun.
I'm not going. I want to go home and sleep.
Be a good girl, and I'll buy you a lollipop tonight.
What flavor?
Golden Bay City outskirts, level 1 to 10 zone.
This low-level zone isn't even enough to pick my teeth.
Ember looked at the surrounding woods with disgust.
Less talk, more action.
3 wild boars appeared ahead. I didn't draw my sword. Instead, I directly activated the Dragon Rider's initial skill, Dragon Impact. My entire body was like a cannonball fired from a chamber, instantly crossing 10 meters and slamming heavily into the lead boar. Bang! Minus 221. That level 1 boar didn't even let out a scream before being smashed into a pulp. Instant kill.
Killed Wild Boar, XP +1.
Before the remaining 2 boars could react, I followed up with 2 backhand punches. Viminus 53, Vimus 551. All instant kills. The Dragon Rider's base stat bonuses were simply too insane. Even at level 1, my strength and vitality already crushed same-level monsters by several times.
Wow, fun!
Ember's eyes lit up when she saw the corpses on the ground. Although this girl is mythical rank, she seems to have serious loot goblin tendencies. She rushed up and rummaged through the boar corpses.
Obtained boar meat, KS10, tusks X2.
Keep going.
I took her along, bulldozing through everything. Pheasants, hyenas, wolves. Any monster that dared to show its head couldn't withstand a single blow from me. Ember followed behind, responsible for looting, having the time of her life. Half an hour later, I had already reached level 8. I dumped all my free attribute points into Vitality. Combined with the Dragon Rider's passive, my HP had already broken the 2000 mark. To put that in perspective, a tank of the same level only has about 500 HP.
You got something, Luke!
Ember shouted excitedly, holding up a spear. I took it and looked. A blue rare item, Wolfbone Spear, plus a skill book, Spear Mastery. Not bad luck. I learned the skill, equipped the spear, and my DPS skyrocketed once again. Just then, a chaotic mix of screams and tremors suddenly came from the distance.
Run! The monsters from the core zone are rioting. Help! Someone help me!
I looked up and saw a group of students wearing varsity jackets from other schools fleeing frantically in this direction. Behind them was a vast white tide of snow wolves. Those were level 15 high-level monsters, hundreds or even thousands of them.
Crazy! How did so many high-level mobs get to the outer zone?
A few passing rogues and warriors didn't even spare me a glance, wishing they could grow an extra pair of legs. At the very back of the crowd, a girl in a mage's robe was stumbling along, about to be overtaken by the wolf pack. She looked back in despair, her eyes meeting mine. That was Jessica, the campus beauty of Golden Bay No. 3 Academy, rumored to have awakened the legendary class Thunder Taoist. But what good was that? In the face of overwhelming numbers, a glass cannon had only one path: death.
Run! Don't just stand there!
She shouted at me, even though she was scared to the point of tears herself. Run? I looked at the dense pack of snow wolves, and the corners of my mouth raised slightly. Those weren't monsters. Those were walking XP packs.
Dragon scales.
A layer of faint golden phantom scales appeared on my body. Damage reduction activated.
Life regen.
Recovering 110 HP per second, sustainability maxed out. I raised my spear, and instead of retreating, I advanced, launching a countercharge against the overwhelming tide of beasts. Jessica's eyes went wide, as if she were looking at a madman.
Flame. Dragon breath slash.
The spear swept across, the tip spewing out a 30-foot fan of flame like a dragon's breath, instantly swallowing dozens of snow wolves at the front. Boom! Minus 678, minus 758, minus 711. A series of terrifying red numbers floated up. Those level 15 snow wolves that terrified ordinary students fell like wheat under a scythe with this single strike.
Killed Snow Wolf, XP plus 500. Killed Snow Wolf, XP plus 500.
The pleasant level-up notifications spammed the screen like crazy. With a flash of golden light, I shot straight up to level 9.
Awesome.
I laughed aloud and charged into the center of the wolf pack. The snow wolves' claws scratched at me, dealing only double-digit damage, while my auto-regen ticked plus 110 every second. This wasn't losing health. They were practically tickling me. The spear danced, and dragon breath swept across. In this moment, I was like a tiger among sheep. Wherever I passed, only corpses and equipment remained.
We're rich! We're rich! So many shiny things!
Ember screamed happily from behind. In less than 10 minutes, I had slaughtered hundreds of snow wolves. Jessica slumped on the ground, staring blankly at the figure standing amidst the mountain of corpses and sea of blood, her mind completely blank. A woo! A shrill wolf howl interrupted my harvesting. From the rear of the pack, a silver giant wolf the size of a calf walked out slowly, its eyes blood red.
System analysis. Target: Snow Wolf Lord, Silver Boss. Level 15. Weakness: Old wound on left hind leg. Skill Telegraph will cast Mass Berserk when howling upwards.
Finally, a decent challenge.
I flicked the blood off the tip of my spear.
It's a boss! Run! You can't beat it alone!
Watch this.
I didn't waste words and directly activated Dragon Impact. Stunned, the spear accurately pierced the Snow Wolf Lord's old wound on its left hind leg. Critical hit, minus 157. The Snow Wolf Lord roared in pain. Just as it tried to raise its head to howl and cast a skill, I instantly threw out my prepped new skill, Righteous Taunt. Skill interrupted. Forced aggro. It was forced to scratch me with its claws. Damage, 90. I retaliated with a spear thrust. Minus 1,800. This was a crush by stats, a counter by mechanics. Before the detection system, all the boss's movements looked like slow motion. 3 minutes later, as the final dragon breath slash landed, the Snow Wolf Lord's massive body crashed to the ground.
Killed Silver Boss, Snow Wolf Lord. XP plus 150,000. Level up to 12. Title obtained. Junior Boss Slayer.
Loot explosion. The pillars of light all over the ground were blinding.
This wolf fur is so soft, I want to make a scarf.
Ember cheered and pounced.
It's safe now. Go home.
I turned around, glanced at Jessica, who was still sitting on the ground, questioning reality, and said calmly, "Having said that, I left with style, carrying bags full of loot. On the way back to the city, my iPhone blew up. Discord was full of messages, the most conspicuous being a DM from Dean Lee. Luke, the city council decided to waive your exams. You have a full ride to Arcane University. Come to the office to sign the papers ASAP." Arcane University, the highest institution in the United States, the holy land that countless professionals dream of. I replied, copy that, then opened the class channel. The group chat was bustling.
Guys, I hit level 6. Elf archery is insane. Who can level faster than me? Joe, you're the man. Carry me, Joe.
Hey, only level 6? Although I'm an elite necromancer, I'm only level 8, still too slow.
This sarcastic humblebrag, I could smell the smugness even through the screen. I couldn't resist posting, only level 8? Don't slack off. I farmed all afternoon and only hit level 12. Let's keep grinding. The channel fell instantly silent. 3 seconds later, it exploded.
Level 12? Luke, are you hacking? Stop capping. Who levels to 12 in one afternoon? Wait, if he's telling the truth, isn't he gonna ascend?
I didn't explain, just turned off my phone. Sometimes, facts speak louder than words. Arriving at the door of the dean's office, before I even pushed it open, I heard the sound of an argument from inside.
Lee, why does Golden Bay Academy get the only guaranteed spot?
A booming voice roared.
Our Jessica from Academy number 3 is a legendary Thunder Taoist, and she hit level 10 in one afternoon. Your mythical class might not level that fast.
Was this Headmaster King from Academy number 3 here to steal the spot?
King, this is a decision from the top.
Dean Lee's voice sounded helpless.
I don't accept it. I brought Jessica here today. Let the two kids face off. Put up or shut up. If your Luke can't beat Jessica, give up the spot.
I pushed the door open and entered.
Dean, I'm here for the paperwork.
Inside the office, Dean Lee and Headmaster King from Academy number 3 turned their heads simultaneously. And behind Headmaster King, Jessica, who was looking down with a hopeless expression, suddenly trembled violently and went pale the moment she saw me.
Jessica, this is Luke. Don't be afraid. Tell him what level you are. Show him what a real genius looks like.
I'm not doing this.
Jessica suddenly screamed, her voice clearly carrying sobs and fear.
What? Jessica, what did you say?
Headmaster King froze.
Headmaster, let's go. Give him the spot. I don't want it. I really don't want it.
Jessica didn't dare even look at me. Her legs were so weak she almost knelt, and she desperately dragged Headmaster King by his suit sleeve toward the exit. Are you kidding me? Compete against this freak who soloed a level 15 wolf pack and slaughtered a boss like a dog? She wanted to live a few more years. Headmaster King was completely bewildered, unable to wrap his head around why his usually proud as a peacock prom queen was now acting like a frightened quail.
Luke, what level are you?
Dean Lee gave me a meaningful look and suddenly smiled. I walked calmly to the desk and signed the guaranteed admission papers.
Not much, just hit level 12.
Headmaster King's eyes nearly popped out of his head.
Great. As expected of a dragon rider, you are truly the MVP of Golden Bay Academy.
Dean Lee laughed heartily, patting my shoulder.
Headmaster King, Luke hit level 12. You lost the bet.
With that sentence from Dean Lee, Headmaster King from Academy number 3, Face Ashen, handed me a crystal card containing 100 gold credits. I casually signed the full scholarship agreement for Arcane University and received the glittering admission letter. When I walked out of the school gates, Ember was holding my iPhone, tapping wildly. This girl had just arrived in the human world and was curious about everything.
Ah, pervert!
She suddenly screamed, throwing the phone away like a grenade. I caught it and took a look. It was a picture of a centaur posted in a Discord group chat, and it was quite racy OnlyFans leak level.
You insisted on looking.
I spread my hands helplessly.
You! Why do you have this filth on your phone? I want to go home.
Relax, I'll take you to get some good food.
2 lollipops shoved in her mouth, and the world was finally quiet. Back at my apartment, this girl instantly revealed her true nature, lazy, a total couch potato. I cooked, she scrolled TikTok. I did the dishes, she scrolled TikTok. I ran the bathwater, she was still scrolling TikTok. When she finished her bath and came out wearing my ill-fitting white shirt, those jade-like feet glowing under the light were truly impossible to look away from.
Where do I sleep?
She asked, wrapped in a towel like a frightened little rabbit.
1-bedroom apartment.
I pointed to the bed.
Squeeze in, don't worry, I'm a gentleman. I won't touch you.
That night, I indeed didn't touch her, but the system did.
Sleeping with mythical partner. Bond level unlocked to 20%. Reward 1. Platinum tier offhand, Dragon Bastion, LV12. Trait, flat physical damage reduction, plus 50. Reward 02. Legendary skill, Blood Boil. Trait, increases max HP by 150% when activated.
Watching the stats skyrocket on the HUD panel, I was so excited I almost jumped out of bed. The next morning, Ember woke up with dark circles under her eyes, and the first thing she did was scold me.
You liar! You said you wouldn't touch me, but did you put your leg on my neck all night? I almost choked.
I ignored her complaints, explaining class knowledge to her while eating cereal.
Ember, since we are partners, we need to coordinate.
Like what?
Dragon Rider has a core mechanic. While mounted, I share 80% of your stats.
You want to ride me?
Ember instantly got triggered and stomped hard on my foot.
Pervert! Don't even think about it. I treat you as a husband and you want to treat me like a horse?
Watching her storm back to the room, I sighed. It's going to be a long grind. After packing up my belongings, I went to the trading post. I set up a stall and sold all the junk materials and common gear I looted yesterday, making 247 credits. Adding the 100 credits I won from the bet, I was now somewhat well off. Just as I packed up the stall, 4 girls approached.
Hey, handsome, is that a knight's shield? We're running a level 20 dungeon. Need a tank. Wanna join? All girls team.
The lead rogue girl looked confident, a bit like a cheerleader from an American TV show.
Sorry, full party.
I glanced at their setup and shook my head.
Playing hard to get.
The rogue girl rolled her eyes and left with her sisterhood. I ignored this interlude and headed straight for the Golden Bay Beach defense line. That was the level 20 to 30 leveling zone, and Miss Scarlett was already waiting for me at the Starbucks entrance. Today, Miss Scarlett was dressed in tight, tactical light armor, with a high ponytail and yoga pants, looking valiant yet sexy with her long legs.
Let's go. Teach will carry you.
She patted her chest confidently, causing a dizzying display of physics. Entering the beach, the ground was covered with level 22 mutant Murlocs. Although Miss Scarlett said she would carry me, she didn't actually intend for me to go AFK. Moving nimbly, she rushed into the mob to pull aggro, and in the blink of an eye, nearly 100 screaming Murlocs were following behind her.
Luke, catch.
She slid past me, dumping the mob onto me. If it were yesterday, I would have turned and run. But today,
Righteous taunt.
I slammed my newly acquired platinum shield, Dragon Bastion, into the ground, and golden light erupted. Nearly 100 Murlocs charged with red eyes, their attacks falling like rain. -33, -28, -21. If it were any other tank of the same level, they would have been turned into dust long ago. But the damage numbers popping up on me were simply touching. The Platinum Shield's flat damage reduction of 50 points was just too broken. Combined with skill damage reduction, these level 22 monsters couldn't even break my defense.
Blood boil.
My HP instantly soared to 3,000 plus. Combined with life regen ticking a few hundred health every second, my HP bar bounced back and forth between full and 99%.
Flame. Dragon breath slash.
I wasn't idle either. Sweeping my spear, massive AoE damage exploded.
Your defense, it's harder than a level 40 paladin. And what is that region's speed?
Miss Scarlett watched dumbfounded from the side. 4 hours later, the corpses of Murlocs piled up into a small mountain at our feet. My level soared like a rocket, shooting straight to level 17 in one breath. Glittering loot was everywhere.
Jackpot, we hit the jackpot.
Miss Scarlett squatted on the ground picking up equipment, completely disregarding her image.
This drop rate is insane. Luke, are you Lady Luck's bastard son?
I smiled, looking at the luck plus 10 stat on my panel, keeping my secret to myself. Just as we were tallying the loot, a group of aggressive people walked over. The leader was a level 45 knight, wearing the Golden Bay Mages Guild badge on his shoulder.
Clear the area! Area closed! A diamond tier boss spawned here! Civilians get out!
It's Chad, the vice president of a top 5 guild here. Luke, let's fall back. Don't mess with them.
Miss Scarlett's face changed. I didn't plan on fighting them head on, so I packed up to leave. Just as we reached the safe zone, a tall woman in a milky white mage robe walked toward us. She had a cold temperament and beautiful features, radiating an aura that said, "Keep away."
My bad.
I wasn't paying attention and bumped her shoulder.
It's fine.
She replied coldly, then turned to the complaining solo players around.
I am Faye. A level 40 diamond boss spawned here. If you don't want to die, you can go in.
With one sentence, the crowd fell silent. Faye, the famous ice queen of Golden Bay City, with the epic class Void Mage. Even she was this serious. It seemed this boss was no simple matter. We watched from the perimeter. Less than an hour later, screams came from inside.
Oh the boss evolved. Chad got one shot.
Immediately after, the previously arrogant guild members fled out in disarray. That level 45 knight named Chad was carried out, charred black, his armor melted.
It's a nightmare. That Firebird evolved and wiped the tanks with 5000 HP instantly. Unbeatable. This isn't Diamond tier, it's Calamity tier.
We failed.
Faye blinked out last, her face pale. Listening to the chatter around me, I shivered inwardly. A level 45 elite raid team got wiped, 5000 HP instantly evaporated. I looked at my current HP, 5500, just enough to tank one skill from that boss. In this world, without an absolute HP advantage, one is just paper in front of a boss of this level. Back home, I was still thinking about how to improve my survivability. Pushing open the door, I almost got a nosebleed. Ember had changed out of yesterday's dress and was wearing a slim-fitting office lady suit. Her long legs wrapped in black silk were crossed on the sofa and she was giggling at her phone.
Luke, you're back. Do I look good in my new outfit?
She stood up and twirled, looking incredibly swaying and graceful.
You look great, but
I grabbed my phone and looked at the bill.
you maxed out my credit card?
16.7 credits, all gone, all on various Gucci and Prada-style uniforms, stockings, and little skirts. Seeing her aggrieved look, my anger instantly vanished. Whatever, she's my wife, simping is allowed. And the system notification sound rang again.
Intimacy level up. Bond unlocked to 30%. Reward, passive skill, Dragon's Affection. Effect, increases fire damage by 70%. Reduces incoming fire damage by 70%.
Seeing this skill, my breath hitched. 70% fire resistance. What did this mean? It meant that in front of fire-type monsters, I was in absolute god mode. Even that diamond boss that one-shot Chad would only deal 30% damage to me.
Ms. Scarlett, cancel the beach plan tomorrow.
I messaged Ms. Scarlett.
I'm going to the Prelude to Extinction, Fire Elves dungeon.
Ms. Scarlett replied instantly. Are you crazy? That's a level 40 all-fire dungeon. You'll be roasted alive.
Don't worry, I got this.
Fine, I'll wait at the entrance. If things go south, I'm pulling you out. The next morning, I brought Ember to the dungeon entrance. It was a crimson forest where the air was distorted and the heat was suffocating. Ordinary professionals would dehydrate before even reaching the entrance, but a faint red light floated on my body and I felt nothing.
So hot. This is the fun place you talked about?
Ember, wearing yesterday's OL suit, fanned herself unhappily with a file folder.
Patience. Show time.
We stepped into the dungeon. Silence reigned, broken only by the crackling of burning fire. Suddenly, the system panel popped up automatically.
System alert. Stealth target detected. Fire Elemental Elf. LV40 Gold tier.
Whoosh! An arrow formed entirely of fire shot out from the sea of flames, aiming straight for my brow. Fast as lightning, snap! A small, pale hand firmly caught the explosive fire arrow.
This level of fire isn't even enough to light my cigarette.
Ember crushed the arrow with a look of disgust.
Don't kill it.
I hurriedly stopped the little dragoness who was about to explode.
No XP if you kill it. Let me handle this.
Weakling!
She crossed her arms and stepped aside. I took a deep breath, staring in the direction the arrow came from. Level 40 gold mob, attack power 500 plus, skill damage breaking 1000. For a normal level 18 knight, this hit would mean death or crippling injury. But I had 70% damage reduction. I had Dragon Bastion. I had Righteous Taunt.
Come on.
I didn't dodge. I charged straight into the second wave of arrows. Bang! The fire arrows slammed into my shield, exploding into sparks. A number floated above my head, -20. I smiled. As expected, with this high damage reduction, a level 40 monster was just an oversized minion. The sneaking fire elemental elf seemed stunned too, revealing its form, a humanoid flame. I slammed into it with dragon impact, and while it was stunned, I unleashed a frenzy of spear attacks. -123. -155. Although the DPS was chipping away slowly, it was safe. A minute later, this level 40 elite monster dissipated with a scream, giving me a massive amount of XP. My experience bar jumped visibly, and I rose directly to level 19.
Feels good.
This was the correct way to power level. I took Ember and started rampaging through the sea of fire. The forbidden flame zone that others avoided like the plague became my backyard. I even deliberately pulled groups of mobs, standing in the fire to let them burn me, healing while counterkilling. Outside the dungeon, Miss Scarlett checked her Apple Watch. 2 hours had passed.
What's taking him so long? Is he unable to get out of bed because of that dragon girl?
She imagined some NSFW scenes, her cheeks flushing slightly.
Crap. Kids these days?
Little did she know, inside the dungeon, I was on a killing spree. The fire elemental elves never dreamed that, as level 40 high-level monsters, they would one day be chased around by a level 19 human.
Don't run, let me see.
I held up Dragon Bastion, chasing behind a group of fire elemental elves like a pervert. Ember had already sucked dry the outer sea of fire, losing their environmental advantage. This group of elves' attacks were like tickles against my 70% damage reduction. Just as I was having fun, my phone rang.
Where are you? Stay put, I'm coming in.
Crap, I forgot to tell Teach I was already inside. Before I could reply, an agile figure wielding a frost-emitting sword charged in.
Luke, hold on, I'm
Miss Scarlett froze in her charging pose. What did she see? A group of level 40 fire elemental elves were fleeing like rats, while I was emitting a villain laughter, chasing behind them and poking their butts.
Morning, Miss Scarlett.
I scratched my head awkwardly.
You call this danger?
Miss Scarlett's mouth twitched.
I never said I was in danger.
Miss Scarlett took a deep breath to calm herself and handed me the frost sword.
Take this. It's the frost blade, effective against fire types. You're strong, but you lack technique.
To regain some face, she picked a lone elf and demonstrated a flurry of brilliant sword skills. Parry, dodge, combo. 5 minutes later, the elf finally fell unwillingly. Miss Scarlett wiped her sweat, looking proud.
See that? That is the art of combat.
Understood.
I nodded and walked toward another elf. Dragon Impact, Stun, Righteous Taunt, Damage Reduction plus Aggro. Then I just button mashed on its head. 10 seconds later, the elf died instantly. I looked at the DPS meter. I lost 16 HP, and that was a critical hit. She silently put away her Art of Combat lesson plan, looking at me like I was a monster.
Are you really just level 19?
No, just hit level 20.
I pointed to the level up notification that just popped up. After clearing the outer perimeter, we went deeper. Deep inside the dungeon was a boiling magma chamber, the temperature terrifyingly high. Suddenly, an explosion came from the center of the fire sea. A black figure was being besieged by over a dozen fire element elites.
Is that a void mage? That's Faye, the guild master.
Miss Scarlett had sharp eyes. I recognized her too. It was the aloof Ice Queen. At this moment, she was in a sorry state. Her mana shield shattered, looking like it was game over. I didn't hesitate. If a powerhouse of this level owed me a favor, doing business in Golden Bay City would be much easier later.
Ember, transform!
Roar. A loud dragon roar echoed through the dungeon. Ember's form expanded, transforming into a crimson dragon with a 10-meter wingspan. I leaped onto the dragon's back, experiencing the true feeling of a dragon rider for the first time.
Hold on tight.
Ember dove down with me, crashing straight into the center of the mob.
Righteous Taunt!
I roared, and a golden aggro aura instantly covered the field. Over a dozen level 42 elite mobs turned their heads simultaneously, smashing dozens of pyroblasts into me.
It's over. He sacrificed himself for me.
Faye closed her eyes in despair. Miss Scarlett also turned pale with fright. Boom, boom, boom. The fire swallowed me. Then, a string of numbers floated up. Vi-5, Vi-5, Vi-8, crit. I looked at these single-digit damages and fell into deep thought. Dragon's Affection, damage reduction 70%. Righteous Taunt, damage reduction 70%, skill specific. This led to a ridiculous result. These level 42 elite monsters couldn't even outdamage my health regen.
That's it.
I waved the borrowed Frostblade, harvesting the elite monsters like cutting vegetables. A few minutes later, over a dozen elites turned into XP. I successfully rose to level 20. Before we could relax, the entire sea of fire suddenly rioted. Countless fire chains shot up into the sky, trapping me firmly. The dungeon final boss, Fire Lord, LV45, Gold Tier, appeared. It played dirty right from the start, its body expanding violently, red runes flashing madly.
Watch out, it's supernova. It's going to self-destruct. That's 100% crit plus 30% true damage. Run.
Faye screamed. Self-destruct? I looked at the increasingly bright mini-sun, feeling not panic, but amusement. True damage was indeed scary, but its base damage was fire. As long as it was fire, in front of Ember, it was a joke.
Luke, dodge it.
Miss Scarlett was so anxious she was tearing up. I stood calmly in place, activating Righteous Taunt to boost my defense buff 1 second before the explosion. Kaboom! A terrifying explosion swept through the entire dungeon, throwing Ms. Scarlett and Faye back with the shockwave. When the dust settled, only a large crater remained where I had stood.
Luke.
Faye knelt on the ground, full of regret.
I killed him. If he survived, I would do anything, even marry him.
Really? Does the guild master keep her word?
A teasing voice came from the dust. I patted the dust off my clothes and walked out with Ember, who had reverted to human form. Not a scratch on me. Even my hair is perfect. Faye's eyes went wide, like she'd seen a ghost.
You're okay? You're really okay?
Miss Scarlett rushed up and patted me all over.
I'm fine, but this sword...
I held up the frostblade, which was now just a hilt.
It melted. Do I have to pay for it?
Pay. Pay with your body. Be my husband.
Miss Scarlett laughed in exasperation. This dungeon trip was fruitful. Not only did I reach level 20, but I also got a core of the Fire Lord, equivalent to a portable mini-nuke. More importantly, I gained favors from 2 great beauties. Just as I exited the dungeon, Dean Lee called.
Luke! Given your mythical potential, the Academy decided to award you a villa right in the Golden Heights district. Fully furnished, move-in ready.
Half an hour later, I stood with Ember in front of a luxurious modern 3-story villa. Floor-to-ceiling windows, private garden.
Wow, big house!
Ember cheered and rushed in.
Luke, is this our home now?
Yeah.
I looked at the mansion and sighed. Is this the treatment for a mythical class? Living the dream. Miss Scarlett arrived on the first day we moved in. She kicked off her Louboutin heels familiarly, her ultra-thin black silk-clad feet stepping on the expensive Persian carpet, sashaying in. She wasn't just here to celebrate the housewarming, she was here to mark her territory.
Wow, an infinity pool.
Miss Scarlett stood by the pool in the backyard, stretching her waist in a way that made blood pump, and winked at me over her shoulder.
Luke, if grading papers gets too stressful, do you mind if I come here for a dip?
I was just bringing out a freshly made charcuterie board and smiled.
My house is your house, Miss Scarlett.
A cold snort came from the side. Ember was wearing a newly bought gothic Lolita dress, holding a Marvel comic book I had only read half of, staring at Miss Scarlett with hostile eyes. As a dragon, her territorial instincts were extremely strong. In her view, this villa was her lair, and I was her private treasure. Miss Scarlett, this woman radiating mature pheromones, was simply swaggering in to invade.
Some people really make themselves at home, huh?
Ember said sarcastically. Miss Scarlett wasn't annoyed at all. Instead, she walked up to Ember, bent down, and smiled at the petite Fire Dragon Princess.
Sister Ember, there's no need for hostility. We can actually be allies.
Allies?
Ember frowned, the temperature around her rising sharply, the air behind her distorting from the heat.
Puny human, you think you are worthy of allying with a dragon?
Boom! A terrifying dragon fear erupted instantly, a crimson dragon shadow appearing behind her. In that moment, the expensive flowers in the garden withered instantly, and the pool water began to boil and bubble. I was startled and about to intervene, but Miss Scarlett didn't even blink. She even stepped closer, lowering her voice.
Think about it. Luke is a dragon rider. He's going to be a celebrity. Do you think he'll lack women throwing themselves at him? Can you block all those gold diggers and groupies alone? But I can.
The flames on Ember stalled.
I'm his teacher, and I'll be transferring to Arcane University too. I can be the gatekeeper. I'll filter out the trash for you. As long as you tolerate me, we maintain a united front.
Miss Scarlett continued to gaslight smoothly. This woman, truly a master manipulator. Ember's thousands of years as a shut-in dragon clearly couldn't compete with Miss Scarlett. She was silent for a while, then withdrew her dragon aura and huffed awkwardly.
If you can do that, I'll allow you to come over for dinner, occasionally.
I broke into a cold sweat listening from the side. Did these 2 women just organize my life? I cooked dinner, steak and wine. Miss Scarlett praised it endlessly, while Ember buried her head in her food, occasionally looking up to glare at me with complex eyes. After sending Miss Scarlett off, I finished the dishes and was about to shower and sleep. Ember suddenly appeared at the bathroom door, holding a set of clothes. I looked closely and almost got a nosebleed. It was the same pencil skirt and blazer Miss Scarlett wore today, plus a brand new pair of black stockings.
What are you doing?
That woman said you like this look.
Ember blushed, gritting her teeth as she measured the clothes against herself.
Ooh. Since she relies on this to mooch off you, this princess can wear it too.
Don't be silly. Go to sleep.
I felt like something was going to happen tonight.
Shut up! Get in the bedroom!
I was pushed into the bedroom. That night, I finally deeply understood why a dragon rider needs an extremely robust constitution. A creature like a dragon, even in human form, has an infinite stamina bar. She wore that ill-fitting business suit, clumsily yet dominantly pinning me down, using this to vent her dissatisfaction with Ms. Scarlett and punish me for attracting bees and butterflies.
Luke, you are mine!
Ouch! Easy there. I am a dragon rider, not the dragon being ridden.
The walk of shame in the exam, the late genius and the public enemy. The next morning, the sunlight was blinding. I felt like my bones had been disassembled and reassembled, especially my kidneys, which were aching dully. Ring ring. My phone vibrated madly. I picked it up in a daze, and Dean Lee's roaring voice came through.
Luke, where the hell are you? The Inter-Academy Wargames started. Thousands of people are waiting for you. Did you let the fame go to your head?
I woke up with a start and checked the time. 7:30 a.m. Shit! Overslept.
On my way.
I scrambled out of bed to get dressed. Ember was still sleeping soundly beside me. Hearing the noise, she groggily extended a white arm to hug my waist, her voice husky and lazy.
5 more minutes.
Sleep later. We have a war to win.
I barely managed to break free from her gentle trap, dragging this sleeping auntie out. We rushed all the way, scanned a lime scooter, stuffed the Fire Dragon Princess on the back seat, and pedaled until sparks flew. When we arrived at the Golden Bay Arena, the whole place was dead silent. Thousands of eyes from students and teachers projected onto us. I had serious bed hair, heavy dark circles under my eyes, and walked holding my waist. Ember behind me, although having a morning face, had a certain post-nourished glow that anyone could see. The originally serious exam venue instantly turned into a TMZ gossip scene.
Holy shit, look at Luke. He looks drained. No kidding. If you had a mythical wife, could you get out of bed? Luke is a hero just for showing up. He's not a dragon rider. He's a dragon survivor.
Countless men cast looks of envy, jealousy, and hatred. I was so embarrassed my toes curled, wishing I could dig a hole with Dragon Bastion and crawl in. Dean Lee walked over with a dark face. Although he wanted to curse, seeing my unsteady steps, he held back and just patted my shoulder meaningfully.
Young man, pacing is key. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Dean,
I couldn't explain.
Enough, get in line.
Dean Lee cleared his throat and said seriously,
Luke, even though you have a full ride to Arcane U, you can't skip this.
He lowered his voice, looking serious.
This isn't just an internal exam, it's the tri-school tournament. The city council is watching. The ranking determines next year's budget. Academy number 3 has Jessica, Thunder Taoist, and Academy number 6 has a mysterious Grand Elementalist. They want the title of No One Academy. Since you are mythical tier, you need to assert dominance.
So that's it. No wonder the old man is so nervous.
Don't worry, Dean.
I stretched my sore back, my eyes gradually sharpening.
For the honor of the school and my villa, I'll take first place.
Dean Lee nodded, turned to face the students, and swiped his hands in the void, summoning a huge blue portal.
Listen up! You will be teleported to a pocket dimension. Everyone gets an emergency beacon. Crush it if you're dying. PvP is allowed, but killing is strictly forbidden. Now move out.
I took Ember, and under everyone's gaze, was the first to step into the portal. Behind me, I faintly heard the sarcastic laughter of Headmaster King, Noboy 3, and Headmaster Woods, Noboy 6.
Hey Lee, your mythical genius looks like he can barely stand. Hope his legs don't give out in the dungeon.
Weak legs? I'll show you what it means to any percent speedrun a dungeon, even with weak legs. After a spin, Ember and I landed. This was a dense primordial jungle, the air humid and frighteningly quiet. This was the exam dungeon. Monsters were leveled between 10 to 20, using a point system where more kills meant a higher rank.
This place is smaller than my backyard.
Ember pouted in disgust.
Quit complaining. Let's work.
We walked a few steps when a towering tree beside us suddenly shook violently. A twisted, hideous human face appeared on the trunk, emitting a cackle, and the branches turned into claws grabbing at me.
Yug, ugly bastard.
I had morning grumpiness with nowhere to vent. Without a word, I directly activated Dragon Impact. Bang! I hit the trunk like a cannonball. The embrace-thick treant was instantly stunned, seeing stars. Immediately, I pulled out the platinum-tier Dragon Bastion shield and unleashed a ground and pound on that ghost face. Bam! 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 The sound of the shield smashing was dull and violent. Seconds later, this level 10 treant was smashed into splinters by me, not even letting out a scream.
Points +1.
Too weak.
I flicked the sap off the shield. Just as I was about to move on, I suddenly felt my spidey sense tingling. A feeling of being watched by countless eyes arose. I whipped around. Behind me was empty, just dense forest.
Illusion.
I frowned. No, my intuition was always accurate.
Ember, you feel that?
Yeah, pure malice. The trees, they're watching us.
All alive. I looked around. There were at least hundreds of trees here. If every one of them was a monster, then this wasn't danger. This was a mobile point bank. A cruel smile appeared on my lips. I raised my right hand, a wisp of crimson flame igniting at my fingertip.
Since you guys like hide and seek, let's play. Flame, dragon breath slash.
I waved my hand casually, and a fan-shaped wave of flaming sword chi swept out, instantly igniting over a dozen large trees ahead. The next second, the jungle rioted. The trees that were originally still suddenly uprooted themselves. Their roots turned into stubby legs, and branches covered their burning butts as they let out terrified shrieks and began to flee madly.
What WTF? Why are you running?
I was stunned. Normally, shouldn't attacking monsters trigger aggro and make them charge? Why were these guys running like they saw the plague god?
Come back. Those are my points.
I was anxious. Thousands of mobs. If they scattered, how long would it take me to hunt them down?
Ember, transform. Chase them.
Roar. A loud dragon roar echoed through the jungle. Ember transformed into a 10-meter wingspan red dragon, and I leaped onto her back, soaring into the sky. From high above, the scene below was spectacular. Thousands of Treants formed a green torrent, fleeing in all directions.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Standing on the dragon's head, I took a deep breath and unleashed my god skill on the sea of monsters below.
Righteous taunt.
A golden ring of light centered on me instantly covered a range of several hundred meters. The fleeing Treants suddenly froze. In that moment, the only command in their brains, run, was forcibly overwritten by attack. They turned around uncontrollably, eyes red, tears flowing, cursing internally while their bodies honestly charged toward me.
That's better. Ember, fire at will.
I roared. The dragon beneath me opened her maw, and several huge fireballs whistled out, smashing directly into my area. Boom, boom, boom. The sea of fire instantly swallowed everything. I had 70% fire resistance, standing in the center of the fire unharmed, even feeling a bit cozy, but the wood-type Treants who feared fire were miserable. This was a massacre. Flames surged, screams rose and fell. My scoreboard was jumping madly like it was broken.
Points +1. Points +1. Points +50. Points +100.
In just 10 minutes, over 1,000 Treants in this area were turned into charcoal. My score froze at 2,248 points.
Satisfying.
I jumped down from the dragon's back, looking at the mess on the ground, in a great mood. My back didn't ache, my legs didn't hurt, I even wanted another round. But the killing was too ruthless. So for the next half hour, Ember and I wandered the jungle seeing not a single ghost. The remaining monsters seemed to have gotten the memo and hid completely.
This efficiency sucks.
I was worrying when heavy footsteps came from ahead. Pushing aside the bushes, I saw two massive black-furred shadow apes patrolling arm in arm. 15-level silver tier mob. Finally saw something alive. My eyes lit up, friendlier than seeing a Playboy bunny. Without a word, I charged with Dragon Bastion, shouting,
"Don't run, let me love you."
The two apes froze, looked at each other, eyes full of confusion. This human is crazy, seeing us and not running but charging? One ape got angry, beat its chest, roared, and charged at me. Bang! Dragon impact. One big and one small figure collided. I didn't move an inch, but the 3-meter-tall ape flew back like it hit a mountain, stars circling its head, entering stun. I gave it no chance, swinging the shield and performing a crazy slam dunk on its skull. Bam, bam, bam. This wasn't a normal shield. It was a platinum-tier door panel. A few smashes later, the ape couldn't even scream before its head blossomed, dying on the spot. The remaining ape was dumbfounded. It looked at its twitching brother's corpse, then at my brain-covered shield, its fierce expression freezing into extreme horror. It turned to run. Whoosh! A crimson figure descended from the sky. Ember reverted to human form, slapped it to the ground, and stepped on its chest with her dainty foot, collapsing the ground.
Going somewhere, little monkey?
Ember asked smilingly, dragon fear looming behind her. The ape was scared out of its wits. Instead of resisting, it went thump and knelt, kowtowing madly, actually speaking human.
Spare me! Great auntie, spare me! I have an 80-year-old mother and a 3-year-old baby ape!
Yo, high AI intelligence? I walked over, wiped the shield on it, gave a nuclear-level kind smile, and helped it up.
Why so polite? Get up.
The ape trembled, legs too weak to stand.
I'm a pacifist, really. I hate violence.
I patted its black-furred shoulder.
I'm not gonna kill you. Just need directions. Do you know where the monster spawn points are? Take me there, and I'll let you go.
The ape looked at its dead brother, then at my smile, and swallowed.
Boss, I'll lead the way. There's a valley ahead full of mobs. Anything you say.
See? Cooperation is key.
Thus, our team gained a traitor monkey. With a guide, efficiency improved vastly. We swept through, killing a few more waves, points rising steadily. After 20 minutes, fighting sounds and magic explosions came from ahead.
People!
I signaled a stop and sneaked over with Ember. Through the dense forest, I saw 3 girls in Academy No. 6 tactical suits struggling back-to-back against a monster tide in a clearing. The monsters looked familiar, the dozens of Treants that slipped through my fingers earlier. Scared witless by me, they fled here blindly, crashing into the No. 6 team and venting their anger on these unlucky girls. In the No. 6 team, the most conspicuous was the Twin Tails girl in the middle. She was petite, only about 1.5 meters tall, with a cute baby face, holding a green staff taller than herself. A green elemental mark flashed on her brow.
Would bind!
The girl shouted, and vines drilled out of the ground to bind the charging Treants. The other 2 girls threw skills.
That's the team from No. 86. Legendary class, Grand Elementalist. That must be the prodigy Yumi that Dean Lee mentioned.
I recognized her class immediately. Their situation wasn't optimistic. A siege by dozens of level 10 monsters was a disaster for normal students. The 2 teammates were injured, and while Yumi was strong, the early-game Elementalist lacked burst damage, relying on control and attrition. Her mana was bottoming out.
Luke, save them?
Ember asked.
Competition. Saving them means sharing points. Besides, they have emergency beacons. They can just quit. They won't die.
I looked and shook my head. I wasn't a bad person, but not a saint either. Revealing my strength to save competitors for no benefit was asking for trouble.
Let's go. Find another spot.
I turned to leave. Unexpectedly, the Twin Tails girl in the middle of the fight suddenly whipped her head around, her pale green eyes piercing through the forest and locking precisely onto my hiding spot.
Hey, you from Golden Bay! Stop staring! Help us!
Her voice was crisp and anxious, with a tone that brooked no refusal. Spotted? I paused, but didn't plan to turn back, pretending I didn't hear.
Ember, let's go. Ideally, the wind is too loud. I can't hear anything.
Liar!
The voice behind me rose an octave, angry and certain.
You are Luke, the level 20 Mythical Dragon Rider. I know you are there. These mobs are free points for you. Are you really gonna leave us to die? What kind of man are you?
I slipped and almost did a faceplant. Did this girl have wall hacks? From hundreds of meters away, she not only found me but called out my name, level, and class. Was this the Grand Elementalist's insight? Being exposed on the spot made pretending deaf embarrassing. I sighed helplessly, turned, and walked out of the forest.
Little girl, watch your mouth. Who told you I'm level 20? I'm obviously a weak, pitiful noob.
Holding the dripping dragon bastion, wearing a harmless smile, I walked toward the battlefield step by step. The Treants besieging them froze the moment they saw me appear. Their wooden faces showed extremely human, like PTSD terror. Yumi looked at me deeply, then suddenly rushed at me like a madwoman. Before I could react, my neck tightened. The girl had clamped onto my head with her legs in an extremely unladylike koala pose.
What are you doing?
Shocked, I tried to pull her off, but she held on like an octopus with surprising strength.
Not letting go, unless you help us.
Get down, I am suffocating.
I took a deep breath, but smelled. Salty brine?
Yes.
I gasped. The smell was strong. Was this the Elementalist's unique ocean scent?
Let go of my husband!
Ember gritted her teeth in rage beside me, dragon fear exploding, distorting the air. The Treants wanting to charge shivered and stopped.
Fine, I promise. Get off.
I couldn't stand the seaweed torture and compromised. Yumi let go, jumped down, and extended her thumb.
Pinky promise! If you lie, I hope you step on a Lego.
Like...
Is this really a legendary prodigy? Why is she like a kindergarten kid? Helplessly, I turned to the scared monsters.
You guys ran away earlier, but since you delivered yourselves to me, don't blame me.
I raised my right hand, igniting a flame. Hum! A fan of fire sword chi swept out, instantly igniting the dozens of Treants. Instant kill.
Wow! Whoa, so cool!
Yumi instantly turned into a fangirl, eyes starry. Her two juniors stared blankly. This was the legendary Dragon Rider, terrifying with a casual strike. Done with the monsters. I ignored the neurotic Shortstack and walked away with Ember.
Wait, I'm Yumi. Nice to meet you.
I didn't turn back, saying calmly,
K.
Directly ghosted. Yumi froze, her smile solidifying into embarrassment and anger.
This guy, did he just ignore me?
She checked herself in a small mirror.
I'm adorable. Is he blind?
Senior Yumi, that black ape is leading them somewhere. Looks like a hidden spot, a junior reminded her.
What? Must be a secret map. He wants to hog all the loot. Let's follow him.
The spawn camp strategy. Having shaken off the tail Yumi, led by the traitor monkey, we reached a clearing in the jungle center. Above floated a giant black rift gate with a holographic countdown. 100, 99, 98. Monster spawn point.
Boss, we're here!
The shadow ape looked at me tremblingly.
Good job. Get lost.
I waved my hand, sparing it. The monkey ran like it was pardoned by the Pope. Yumi's trio watched from the bushes, eyes popping out.
What is he doing? That's a spawn node. A huge wave is coming in seconds. Is he trying to spawn camp?
Bingo. I'm absolutely spawn camping. Countdown 0. A level 10 goblin scout walked out of the black vortex. Before it could see the beautiful world, it was enveloped in golden light.
Righteous taunt.
Its body walked uncontrollably toward me, and then, home run! I swung Dragon Bastion, knocking its head off like a baseball. Then the second, the third. The monsters that just respawned were like queuing up to deliver Uber Eats. I didn't even need to move, just swing the shield, and the score on the HUD climbed. 10 minutes later, the vortex expanded, monsters coming out in droves. Roar. A lightning-covered thunder rat charged out, level 20 silver mob.
Walking power bank?
I smiled. It tried a static shock but got sent flying by my dragon impact, followed by a Jordan-level slam dunk. Bam, bam, bam. The poor Pikachu relative was rubbed into the ground by me, dying humiliatingly into points. The spawning monsters suffered a mental boom.
Is this a spawn point or a slaughterhouse? I want to go back.
Front mobs tried to run back. Back mobs pushed out. A tragic stampede occurred.
Stop pushing. There's a psycho out there. Let me back in, Mommy.
I took the chance to set some fires, Ember finishing them off, points skyrocketing.
Congratulations. Title obtained, Mob Genocider. Effect, passive fear aura. Monsters will avoid you.
I looked at the 5 bloody words above my head, laughing and crying. With this title, wasn't I public enemy #1 for monsters? After the slaughter, my score froze at 7254. On the stadium big screen outside, the 3 principals dropped their Starbucks, seeing the leaderboard. Rank 1, Luke Nidus 7254 PTS. Rank 2, Jessica, 19/80 PTS.
Is this kid using aimbot or something?
Desert survival, borrowed knife, jungle cleared. I took Ember to the desert biome. Immediately, I was surrounded by red mane wolves. The leader was a level 20 alpha wolf with a flame crown. A woo. The Wolf King ordered, and hundreds of firewolves launched flame tackle, bouncing me around like a ping-pong ball. But I wasn't panicked, even amused. I have 70% fire resistance. Their attacks dealt 0 damage. When they got tired, I dusted myself off, activated Righteous Taunt, and smashed them one by one. Minutes later, only the Wolf King remained. It looked at the corpses, tucking its tail between legs in fear.
Lead the way. Next spawn point.
I patted its dog head. The Wolf King obeyed, becoming a guide. Waiting at the new spawn point, a maniacal laugh came from behind.
Ha ha ha, Luke, I finally found you.
A fat guy in heavy armor and Academy #6 badge jumped out.
Hand over your points, or taste the wrath of Barnaby the Juggernaut.
You sure about this, big guy?
I looked at this clueless Barney, with sympathy.
Less talk, charge.
Barney summoned an armored boar, charging like a meatball. Too lazy to move, I signaled the Wolf King.
Sick 'em.
The Wolf King, frustrated with no outlet, pounced with a roar, igniting into flames. Barney blocked with his shield, initially proud.
Haha, my defense is impenetrable. A mere wolf can't hurt me.
But soon, he stopped laughing. The Wolf King's fire was magic damage. Barney's iron shield heated red, making a sizzle sound.
WTF, hot, hot, hot.
A BBQ scent filled the air. Barney screamed, dropping the shield as his hands sizzled. Without the shield, he was a sitting duck. The Wolf King tore and roasted him.
Help, I surrender.
Seeing the fatty about to be medium well, I waved the wolf off. Walking to the half-dead Barney, I poked him with a stone.
You good.
Good, very good.
Since it's good, let's turn up the heat.
I ignited a flame on my finger.
No, please, have mercy.
Barney was scared senseless. He tried to crush his beacon, but Ember stomped on his wrist with her heel and snatched it.
Going somewhere?
Ember sneered. Just then, the spawn countdown ended. Barney watched the monster army emerge, thinking he was dead. But the next second, he saw something causing him to question reality. Luke rushed into the mob alone. The ferocious monsters were like wet paper before him, slaughtered effortlessly. Some monsters tried to crawl back, but were dragged out by the tail by Luke and beaten to death. Barney's jaw dropped.
Who is the real monster here?
I checked the leaderboard, 9,500 points. Barney stared dumbfounded. I holstered my weapon. Barney, a man of flexible morals, switched attitudes instantly, slapping himself and begging for his blue beacon back to quit. I smiled at the beacon in Ember's hand, took it, and touched it to mine. Blue flash. Barney's few hundred points flowed into my pocket. Barney nearly cried. I patted his shoulder.
We are all from Golden Bay City. I won't bully you. I'll keep this beacon safe for now. I'll return it when the time is right.
Ignoring his grieving face, I had Ember transform into a dragon. I lifted Barney onto her back, and we flew off. Minutes later, we landed in the white frozen tundra. Snow everywhere. Soon, level 10 polar bears surrounded us. The huge boss bear led them. Unfortunately, they met a fire dragon rider. This wasn't combat, it was cyberbullying. One hit, critical, -999. Boss bear saw his minions drop and tried to run. I blocked him with a fire ring.
I'm not interested in killing you. Take me to the spawn points, and you live.
The rest was boring. With the bear's lead, I cleared all spawn points here, then flew Ember to clear a dozen more areas. The leaderboard exploded. My points hit 40,000 plus. Second place Jessica was tens of thousands behind. Everyone went crazy. Killing monsters one by one felt pointless. They realized, kill Luke, take his beacon, instant win. While everyone hunted me, I was lying on an Azure Coast beach, drinking coconut juice. Suffering from success. Spawn points empty, too lazy to chase strays. Barney lay beside me, hopeless. I tossed the empty beacon back to him. He caught it, then gasped. The crystal now held 3,000 points. 3,000 points was astronomical. Barney looked at me warily, knowing there's no free lunch.
I want you to go out there. Find the students from Noba 3 and Noba 6 who want to rob me. Bring them here.
Barney understood immediately. It was bait. He tried to feign morality. I added 1,000 points.
Deal, Luke, you're the boss.
Barney jumped up, took the 4,000 points, and went to be a double agent. School spirit meant nothing before points. Soon, Barney found the search party. Hundreds from number 3 and number 6, even a divination wizard. Barney, with Oscar-level acting, told them I was injured and using a glitch, showing his burn marks as proof. Greed won over reason. They howled, preparing to raid the loot piñata. News spread. Golden Bay students, including Zach, heard it too. Putting aside school rivalry, they rushed to the beach to warn me. Jessica and Yumi, being top scholars, realized I must have soloed spawn points seeing my score. They knew numbers wouldn't work on such a savage. Both groups arrived at the beach. No 3 and Nobor 6 had 400 people. Zach's group was blocked. Zach tried to send skeletons to warn me, but a sword beam destroyed them.
Trying to warn him? No way! Luke's points are ours!
Jessica and Yumi arrived.
Stop! Everyone stop! You can't go to Luke. It's suicide.
Jessica shouted, but greed blinded them. Yumi presented my spawn camping record. Some left, but most stayed.
We have numbers. Even a mythical class can't handle 400 people. Right, high risk, high reward. Let's get him.
Suddenly, a deafening dragon roar came from the sky.
Your points belong to me now.
I stood on the dragon's head, looking down at the ants. Ember dove, smashing into the crowd. Boom! Shock waves sent people flying. I jumped down, walked to a fallen student, took his beacon, transferred points, crushed it. He was sent out before he could curse. I walked like I was shopping at Walmart, sending people away with white flashes. They finally reacted.
He's too cocky. Everyone attack. CC him.
Vines, earth spikes, shield charges flew at me. I stood still, crimson flames erupting. Fizz. Vines turned to ash, spikes to magma, shields to molten iron. Silence.
Meteor shower.
Genius Lee from number 6 cast his ult. I opened my arms, letting the fire rain wash over me like a hot bath. Fire Dragon Rider, 70% fire immunity. Lee was dumbfounded. Ho from number 3 jumped out with his Chaos Blade.
Blade storm.
He slashed my head. Clang. Like hitting diamond. My shield didn't ripple. His hand burst open. The blade curled.
That's it.
I smiled. Despair hit them. Magic immune. Physical immune. This is a raid boss.
Since you're done, it's my turn.
I activated Righteous Taunt. A yellow ring covered the front row. They walked toward me like under hypnosis, screaming, "No, stop moving legs," but their bodies obeyed. Taunt is a hard CC, uncounterable. I harvested crops, taking beacons one by one.
No, my points. Luke, please don't.
I ignored the pleas. When Taunt ended, the rest collapsed mentally. Jessica and Yumi stood far away, untouched.
Who's next?
I looked around. Ho threw his broken sword.
You win. We give up. Let's call it even.
Call it even?
I laughed.
Hundreds of you tried to gank me, and now you want to call it even? There's no free lunch.
What do you want? Even if we lose, fighting 400 people will cost you.
Ho bluffed.
Simple.
I rubbed my fingers.
Anyone who attacked me, hand over your points, then you can leave. Or, I take them myself.
This is a robbery. A one-man robbery of hundreds. Some tried to sneak attack. I used Righteous Taunt again on the leaders. No one dared move. The scene was weird. Students from number 3 and number 6 lined up like handing in homework, crying as they gave me beacons and vanished in white light. My points froze at 55,123. Only Jessica, Yumi, and the Golden Bay students remained. Jessica and Yumi sighed, taking out beacons.
You didn't attack. You even tried to warn me. I pay my debts.
I stopped them. The girls looked grateful and left on their own. Zach and the others gathered around, excited.
Luke, you absolute legend. That was satisfying to watch.
Sorry we couldn't help much.
Who said you didn't help? You came to warn me. That counts.
I smiled at my classmates. I thought about my full-ride scholarship. Points were just numbers to me, but vital for their college chances.
All right, line up. Distribution time.
What? Luke, you're giving us points? That doesn't seem right.
Are you guys stupid? Luke has already admitted points are useless to him. Don't be shy. I'm taking some.
Zach rushed up. I gave him 3,000 points. Everyone joined in.
Thanks, Luke. Luke, you're the best.
I distributed all 50k plus points, leaving me with an empty beacon, which I crushed. Golden Bay Arena, outside. The 3 headmasters waited anxiously. Dean Lee was pacing back and forth. The number 3 and number 6 students came out first, looking like defeated roosters.
It's okay. It's just a midterm. There's always next time.
Headmaster King and Woods comforted them. Jessica and Yumi came out.
Jessica, what's your score?
3,000 something.
Ha ha ha, 3,000. That's a record breaker. We won.
King laughed. Woods was satisfied with Yumi's 2,000 plus. They mocked Lee.
Hey Lee, looks like Golden Bay is bottom tier again. Yeah, our aces are out. Your students are nowhere to be seen. Probably hiding in shame.
Dean Lee looked pale. Then, Golden Bay's portal lit up. Zach and the group walked out laughing, high-fiving each other.
How was it? Where's Luke?
Dean Lee rushed up. I walked out.
Luke, you had 7,000 points early on. What's the final? Did you break 10k?
Dean Lee grabbed my shoulder.
Dean, I performed poorly. 0 points.
I scratched my head.
What?
Dean Lee nearly had a stroke.
0? Are you kidding me? Where did your 7,000 go?
Gave it to my classmates, so I have 0.
Dean Lee froze. Headmaster King and Woods laughed till they cried.
Wahahaha. Lee, a mythical class with 0 points. That's a historic record for Golden Bay City. This is your ace card? Hilarious.
Dean Lee looked dead inside. A referee ran over with a replay crystal, looking like he saw a ghost.
Dean, big news. Huge news.
Save it. I know we lost.
Lee waved him off.
Hey Lee, don't be so negative. Since there's a replay, let's watch it on the big screen. Let's analyze how a mythical class gets a goose egg. 0. Ha ha ha.
Headmaster King intervened.
Yes, let's all learn from this.
Woods agreed. The referee looked at them weirdly.
Headmasters actually.
Jessica tried to explain.
Hush, Jessica. This is for educational purposes.
King interrupted her, signaling the referee to play it. The referee activated the crystal on the Jumbotron. The giant holographic screen unfolded. On screen, I rode the Crimson Dragon, camping the Rift Gate, dealing 999 damage, making monsters cry. Then, 400 people besieging me, getting rubbed into the ground, lining up to pay protection money. The arena fell dead silent. The smiles on Headmaster King and Wood's faces solidified, turning into horror. Dean Lee's mouth opened wider and wider.